What's up, Valyntpreneurs? Welcome back to the Valynt Volume. This is your host and CEO, Dan Spottsville.
And I'm Makayla Mitchell.
If you're a first-time listener, this is a Valynt Volume where we talk about business, entrepreneurship, and how to kick ass in life.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
I really like that.
Yeah.
Well, welcome. Happy Friday. How are you doing today?
Good. I feel like I know how to turn it on now. Whoop. Just turn it on.
I'm glad you can turn the podcast on. So interesting thing happened this morning.
Oh, what?
Well, you were there.
Okay.
We went to go get coffee, and when we pulled up to go get coffee, we were having a good conversation with our bro-ristas because we love Dutch Bros.
Dutch Bros.
And there was a new girl that had just started because, we've become regulars enough in the mornings.
That's
where they recognize us. They're asking us questions about our life. What are you guys up to today? And then out of nowhere, one of the girls from the back of the store runs up to the window shouting, "Neymar!"
I did not look like Neymar that
You
much.
look like Neymar. And the new girl was very confused.
Yeah, she didn't know what was going on.
No, I think it was, even 2 weeks ago, one of the girls, she was like, head down, making her coffee. And she's like, you know Neymar? You look like him.
She did.
She
is
asked.
that the same girl that asked me today? Or
It
no,
wasn't
that
the
started
same
yelling?
girl.
It was a different person?
Yeah,
Really?
it wasn't the same girl, but I think she might have been in that same situation. But I'm telling you, when we pull up in your truck or whatever, it's, hey, those are those people. Those are the people that
I guess
wake
I know.
up.
We go there enough
Yeah.
for them to know us. But you know what? I love Dutch Bros because even when we were in line this morning, she made small talk. It seemed very genuine. And then when we got to the window, after ordering the coffee, they were very friendly too. So I just like Dutch Bros vibe. It's like my vibe.
Yeah.
I like the vibe.
Well, and I think it was last week when we went, we were sitting there waiting for them to make our coffee. There wasn't much small talk happening, but then the barista, the bro-rista, I think is what they actually call themselves. Bro-rista.
Bro-rista.
Because Dutch Bros.
Got it.
Yeah. She looked at us and she was like, so she was asking us about our goals. How are your goals going this year?
She remembered from 3 weeks ago or 4 weeks ago or something like that. Yeah.
Right. Because at the start of the year, we happened to go get coffee before we were going to go
to write our goals down.
Write our goals down. Yeah. And she remembered that, but I forgot we told her that. And so when I was listening to her, I was like, wait, does she know we write our goals down? Is she just assume we made goals? But
yeah, I recognized her. It was the girl that morning because she asked us because it was New Year's Day. It was that morning, and we were on the way to the lake to write our goals down for the year. So I remember it was early in the morning too, New Year's Day.
I thought that was so that moment was really cool for me because her following up with us about how are your goals going was this moment of where I recognized I've become a regular at a coffee shop.
Yeah.
Between the 5 a.m. and 8 a.m. time frame.
Slot. Yeah.
And in comparison, I used to pride myself in being a bar regular.
I
where
see.
it was I just got off my shift and now I'm at midnight, whatever, and I'm going to the bar. I'm a bar regular.
Got it.
I used to, I got a job because I became a regular at the bar. And I realized that one of the bartenders had moved. And I was like, hey, you guys obviously have a spot.
Yeah.
I'm here all the time. I know the people. I know the things. Can I work here?
Yeah.
It ended up working. But for me, it's been such a shift in my life of I'm no longer the bar regular. I'm now the coffee
bro
regular.
Yeah. You're the bro regular.
But
how does that make you feel?
It made me feel accomplished because that means I've been consistent in one of my goals, which is to wake up by 7 at least 4 days of the week.
Yeah.
I'll admit that there's been days it's 7:30.
Sure.
Which feels crazy to me that that's.
What did you tell me the other day when you woke up at 7:30? What did you tell me? You hit me up and told me.
Literally had anxiety. No, I felt anxious.
Right. Why?
Because the sun was out and I hadn't left my house yet. It's so crazy to me because I used to leave the bar at 3 o'clock, 2:30, 3 o'clock in the morning if I was working, if I was just drinking there. And then I'm falling asleep when the sun's coming up.
Right.
And now I'm wait, if I don't have my day literally started by the time the sun is coming up, like I'm sitting at the office working by the time the sun comes up, like I feel like I'm behind. And I liked that though. I really did, because I was like, I feel like I've gained hours. And if people are like listening to us consistently, they'll hear old, Valynt volumes of us where I'm talking about being a night person, or like that my hours are different than yours, and that no matter where you can find the hours, they're there. Like I've literally shifted.
But well, that's one. I'm glad that you feel that way, because now I share that feeling with somebody. So like, I felt for years, like if I don't wake up by the time that, not just wake up, but like just I'm doing the thing, right? Like I'm working out or doing something, because most of the time I'm up at like 4:30, 5 o'clock, and then I go to the gym most of the time, and then I get my day started. So like, I'm in office to the point that you're making, like before the sun's out.
Yeah.
So I do feel like, I think Rob Dyrdek said this, and there were so many like negative comments around what we're talking about right now, like, oh, I want the old Rob back and all of that. But I think those people that make those comments, like, oh, you don't have to be up before the sun's out, or like you don't have to be working before the sun's out, I'm not talking shit here, but I don't think they understand like the amount of things you can get done in the morning, because the world is still asleep, so there's quiet, there's stillness, there's no phone calls, especially like depending on the type of position or the type of role you have in your day to day. That's like your quiet time, and that's where I find my quiet time. And then because we're running full force like during the day, typically like those type of individuals are tired by like 9-10 o'clock, so they go to sleep by like 10 and wake up at 4. That's 6 hours of sleep. That's enough.
Yeah.
And some people would argue that, but
yeah, I think the last thought I'll add on to that before we kind of shift into what we wanted to talk about today is that, like, to your point, the busyness, like the quietness that we're allowed to have when you wake up that early or start your day that early, it's like, for me, whenever I'm waking up, right, like the bare minimum of what I need to be, I'm starting my day with hustle and bustle, with traffic, with a lot of voices, with a lot of like notifications. I mean, like think of when you start receiving emails, texts, like any of that stuff during your day. But if you're starting your day, like, dang, I really sound like a testimony to what you've been preaching, because like
you've been hanging around me too much. That's what that means.
Darn. But like, you literally used to say, or you still say, like, you prioritize yourself in the mornings.
Yes, I do.
Like whenever you have that time, that between 5 and
like 7:30.
7,
7:30
to focus on your stuff. And so like, even if you're not doing busy tasks or work related tasks, or just if you start your day then, like you have control of, you have the authority to like decide how your day starts, and then you add in those little stressors that like you can't control, traffic, the people texting you, like the notifications coming in. So like you just have a more sound way of doing things.
I do feel like I would agree with you that I do feel like I'm more in control, like when I wake up at 4:30 or 5 a.m. Because I just have the me time. Like, when I'm playing basketball in the morning, like let's just say like from 5 o'clock to like 6 a.m. just shooting around for an hour at the gym, I'm listening to music, I'm thinking through things like that's on my mind that I want to get accomplished, or like, I'll think through like those more like complex problems that I have to like come to a solution on. That you can't sometimes come to a solution on. You kind of like leave it hanging and you come back to it. Those kind of things like I get through and think through like early in the morning, and then it also allows me to just work on the little things that I didn't finish the night before. So the morning is my way to win. Like it's just ingrained in me for the last, I don't know, 15 years or something. Like it's been a very long time. I've been doing this for.
Last night when I was setting my alarm, I meant to share this with you, but when I was setting my alarm, I had the realization that like I used to set my alarm thinking, okay, I need to get up just a little bit earlier. So if I want to be up and running by 8, maybe I'll set my alarm for like 7:30. 6 is way too early. But last night when I was setting my alarm, I was like, okay, 5:15 and 5:34 or something random, right? And I was like, 4:45 4:30 would be too early. Like I literally had that switch of just like,
Yeah.
I'm going to be frustrated with myself if I'm not up by 6, absolutely. Not because of the sheer fact, like, I made that goal, but because, like, I'm going to feel anxious that, like, what do you mean I've lost time?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. No, like today, like I woke up at 4, like this 10 o'clock. I'm already 6 hours in my day.
Damn.
Yeah.
What have you accomplished a lot today, you feel like?
Yeah. I mean, we went through interviews. I thought through a lot this morning. I spent like 10, 15 minutes on social media, you know, like I got my little social media time in, responded to emails, got done like data conversations I needed. Like that's been a hang up for like a couple days. So like I got a lot of stuff done.
Yeah.
But yeah, let's get into today's thing.
Cool.
Yeah.
So today I switched it up a little bit. Rather than us doing some questions that either I had or that the Valyntpreneurs have shared with the hello email.
Yes.
Hello at Valynt Digital.
Yeah.
I have a couple of like hot topics that I just recently saw.
Ooh, sizzle. Put in that sizzle.
Hot topics.
Ooh, that could be a little thing. Say that again.
Hot topics. Wait, no, that's that's hot pockets. Never mind.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So I was looking at some digital marketing stats trends for 2024.
Yep.
I don't know if I've shared this with you yet, but I found a number for the worldwide digital ad spend that's predicted for 2024. Do you
worldwide? Okay.
Do you want to take a guess at what the worldwide digital ad spend is predicted to surpass for 2024?
Like worldwide, right? Not United States, like the world. 100 trillion.
So, my source.
What is 1 trillion? 99 billion? Like,
You're the math guy.
I don't know.
Okay.
Do you know?
What 1 trillion is?
Yeah, is it 99 billion?
Well, it's more than a billion, so.
So that's where we'll leave it.
Yeah.
Yes.
We're moving on.
Yes.
So the source that I had looked at for top 10 digital marketing topics to cover for stats.
1,000 billions. 1,000 billions is 1 trillion. There you go.
So how do we quantify that, and how many Jeff Bezos salaries do we?
I don't know. That math, nah.
Doesn't compute.
Yeah, I can't compute that.
So based on this article, the worldwide digital ad spend is predicted to surpass more than $300 billion this year.
That's a lot.
That's a shit ton of money.
That is a lot. I think there's a stat like I shared, when I was trying to like land clients like 4 years ago, and I'm gonna come back to this number that you just shared, but like digital marketing spend past traditional marketing, I think it was back in like 2019 or something. It was 2018 or 2019 where the shift from traditional marketing spend for most companies went from traditional marketing spend to digital marketing spend, like on your Meta, LinkedIn, Google AdWords. I mean, you name it, like it's shifted. So that trend continues to happen. But I still know that there's, at that time, like I think like 2018, it was like, 30%, 33% of like companies in the United States use digital marketing as a main source of like marketing. Yeah. I think that number has probably changed now to probably like 50%. I would think so. But yeah, no, that's an interesting number.
So one thing about that number that the article was not clear about is if that's taken into consideration, like anything that has to do with like elections, because an election's up and coming, right?
Yeah.
So like, does the 300 billion anticipate election ad spend? Because correct me if I'm wrong, but like people that are running for president or like within any type of political election, like they can use digital marketing for ads, right?
Yeah, I'm about to crack my knuckles real quick.
Ooh.
It's about to get real here.
Because like
it's about to get real.
I'm trying to figure out though, like I know you have experience running ads in an election period and how that affects like your clients. So I'm really curious if that 300 billion is anticipating the election.
So yeah, of course. Like I think that number has to be like included in that. But again, I'm not gonna guesstimate here, but like I can tell you something about the election and how that affects digital marketing, because I've experienced that back in 2020. 2020, we were running a lot of advertising campaigns still, right? Not to the level we are, but I can even tell you at the level 4 years ago when I was running digital marketing campaigns for capital raises or just lead generation as a whole, there were candidates that were running for presidency that were spending $30, $40, $50 million a month on just the Meta platform. So imagine spending like $50 million on Meta alone.
To put your ads in front of hopefully the right people.
Well, it becomes, I mean, if you're spending like $50 million in a month on a certain like the Meta platform,
Yeah.
I mean, there were thousands of ad variations running for this political candidate. And look, when I say political candidate that was running for presidency, every political candidate that made it to the face off was running advertising campaigns in the 8-figure mark every single month. Like, one, if people didn't know, like candidates do heavily rely on social media marketing to get in front of their audience. Because again, remember, like if you listen to some of our other Valynt volumes, digital marketing allows you to target people based on their likes and dislikes, right? It also allows you to target based on things that you're saying online or hashtags that you're using, like hashtag this or hashtag that. It also allows you to target based on the news that you watch, so like if you put that marketing campaign in front of the right hands. For example, like I have the ability to run political campaigns on digital marketing platforms. Like I've applied for it, I have access to it. I haven't done it, but like I was looking at the data. The data is insane. The amount of people that you can sway in one direction or the other based on the messaging that you put, the amount of stain you can put on the other candidate with the sheer amount of ad spend and driving a certain type of narrative is insane when it comes to digital marketing. So like it is a tool that can convince millions of people in one direction, to go left or go right. Like you can convince millions of people if you spend the right money, if you know how to run the targeting, and you run it on the right platform and you have good content, you know what I mean? And I saw it and I was like, holy shit, this is a lot of money. But then for digital marketing advertisers and just advertisers alone out there, they should know this. If you were heavy into digital marketing 4 years ago, on the last election, if our cost per lead was running like at $50, when the election started to happen, it shot up like 4 or 5x. Like what was costing us $50 per lead shot up to like, $200 per cost per lead because the sheer amount of money that was being put into these platforms that month. So like we actually paused most of our campaigns until the election was over, because like it didn't make sense to compete against that volume of advertising spend. And also those advertisers were targeting like retail investors and accredited investors, which was the space we were kind of still in at the time. And we saw those campaigns rise like crazy.
Okay, so there's a lot to unpack
Google something.
there.
Yeah, I'm gonna Google something real quick.
I think where I want to start is one, how do you know? Like, how do you know that they were spending that much? Was it something that was publicly like shared or?
Yeah, it's public knowledge. I'm looking this here. Let me see.
Okay. Because I know that like.
Look, okay.
No, go ahead.
So I just did a quick research. So this is like public knowledge. Look, when you're on platforms like Meta or LinkedIn, there's what's called the ads library. So this is for those people that want to see like, oh, I wonder what kind of a campaign or advertising campaign a certain brand is running. You can go Google ads library for Meta or ads library for LinkedIn, and there's a link that'll pop up and you can click on it. You can type in the brand's name and it'll show you the ads that they're running.
Yeah, I know that even when you're just like, when I log into Facebook as my personal user, I can go to a brand's name, like Valynt Digital, and on like the left-hand side, it'll say something about visibility, and you can actually see it'll say something like ads are running or ads have never been run, and then you can click through to the ads library to see the different ad variations, like meaning the actual image or video that they're running, when they stopped running it. So even at a user level, just like myself or a random person, like you could look at it.
Right. So if you want to see what, like this election, if you want to see what political candidates are running on social media, go to that platform or just go Google ads library for Facebook or ads library for Meta/LinkedIn. And then you should get a link and you should be able to put that person's like profile in, like, insert candidate's name, and you'll be able to see like how much they're spending.
Really?
That's what I was looking at. I was like, man, this is insane. And I just did a quick Google just now. They spent 9 figures on digital marketing. I mean, 9 figures is over $100 million. Jeez. The amount of money that goes into advertising for candidates is insane. And I could tell you this election, again, I'm not I'm not talking like anything politics, but when it comes to advertising for politicians and candidates that are looking to become the next president, I promise you they're probably going to pump in more money this year than ever before, because they even more now people are on their phone. Even more now people are spending time, through TikTok. I wonder how they're going to regulate this thing. I'm just thinking like, well, how are they going to regulate it? What are they going to allow on these platforms? Like, that's something I'm I'm going to be closely watching, because I'm interested in when I'm going to start seeing those ads. You know what I mean? I wouldn't be surprised if they start to run it like, like midsummer, or I mean that might, yeah, I would think like summer or something.
Yeah. It's like when I think of a political ad, my memory goes to somebody just having this almost cheesy looking slander type of campaign.
It's not like that, no. Mm-mm.
Like where it's saying like,
No.
this person has done X, Y, and Z that's horrible, and it's so, what is this, sensationalized, like overdrawn, like drama. And then it's at the end, it's like somebody with like eagles in the background. It's like, vote for me. But like, you know what I mean? It's like, this is the American dream, or like, or just like why I'm so much better, because for over exaggerated reasons, this one's horrible.
Yeah.
Is that the type of campaigns that are still running today that you're seeing?
Yeah, I'm gonna keep myself honest here. Like, I want to say like I saw some of those like 4 years ago, but a lot of what I remember from seeing like the type of ads that they were running, they were almost like you couldn't almost tell that they were advertising campaigns, because they would take their post, right? So there's a campaign that you can run called post engagement. So they were posts that these candidates had made, and it could have been like a 25-second clip to where like the crowd's cheering, and they say something. They say something sensational, like at this like event that they're promoting their candidacy for, and they're saying something like for 20-25 seconds, and there's some verbiage there, and then they're pushing that to the masses. So they want the masses to see them shining in the light of like a huge crowd. Does that make sense? So it almost seemed like it was just an organic type of post, but it is an organic post. You can use an organic post to run ads against a specific audience. So that's where the swaying of the view of the candidate comes in. I mean, if you're pumping 9 figures into advertising campaigns on social media, and you're placing them like winning, the crowd's cheering all the time. They just look, they're taking these clips that make them look so good. And, in their shining moment, sensational moment. Yeah. I mean, you start to think like, oh, this person's legit, or like this person could help me change, my situation, all of that. So like that starts to get into politics. But my point is, if you're a digital marketer, be on the lookout, like I would say this summer, to see what kind of ads are running out there. It's interesting for me. Like I look at it from an interest level. Like I'm interested in how they're positioning, certain candidates, what they're running, who they're targeting. Are they targeting based on income or location? Or is their messaging a little bit different? Because like I said, they have thousands of different, ad variations. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's insane.
I know.
It makes me think of like, whenever you watch like a trailer for a movie, you see all the like really good clips or the things that are going to make you want to like watch it, like clickbait, like it's exactly what it is, just on politics level. Yeah. So like, how are you going to prepare, I guess, for this year for your clients? Like, are there certain clients that you're more worried about? Like, how does that thought process work? Yeah.
No, this year, like, I'm not too worried about it, because there's other platforms that we can heavily rely on, to where it doesn't affect it. I mean, there's alternatives, right? And we can also like kind of brief our clients like, hey, look, this is happening this year. Starting like in November, especially when they start pumping it up, we'll see it in our ad. We'll see it in the KPIs, the key performance indicators, like the cost per click starts to go up. So that's why it's important for us to look at the ads every day, right? So we'll start to see a little bit, and I already know what I'm looking for, because I saw the same trend 4 years ago. And then we see the same trend every year when the holiday hits, cost per click goes out, click-through rates go down. Certain things happen. So there's indicators that I'm looking for. Yeah, I mean, I just know what I'm looking for. So, and to answer your question, we'll move some of our budgeting from like Meta, and we're already doing this, by the way. Like, we're moving people from like their budget from like Meta to like Twitter to LinkedIn to TikTok, and all, like kind of like spreading it out more even, and already like prepping for it like before it even hits. So that way, like when it does happen, It's just like we probably just completely pause, certain platforms that where KPIs go up. In this conversation, we're just talking about Meta, but we just pause that and then add the budgets elsewhere. You know what I mean? And it's not a very long time, so it's like look, if we're killing it for our clients, like throughout the year, it's not going to make that much of a difference anyway for like a 30-day period if the ads aren't running now. For some people, I think it'll make a difference, but for others, it's not going to. So
yeah, you mentioned Twitter. That's been a newer platform that we've kind of started looking into. Do you have any thoughts on Twitter yet?
Yeah, I actually looked at the Twitter's
X, I guess.
Yeah, X. Yeah, X. I looked at X's targeting. It's certainly changed over the years. It's improved. It's gotten a lot better. I like the Twitter. The advertising setup, I think, is very straightforward and simple for advertisers to be able to use and target however they need to. But again, Twitter's easy to use. Not Twitter, but X is easy to use when it comes to building the campaigns. But the most important part is it's easy to get in front of your right audience. The challenge and what you need to get right is just the content and the sequence at which you share these campaigns, right? What angle, the messaging is what I'm trying to say is most important. Because look, on all these platforms, you can target whoever you need to get in front of, but the winning campaign has like the one of the best. You have to have good content these days, or you're just not going to win. It's not going to happen because you got advertisers that know. There's more and more people that know how to target certain individuals. Well, you would think that they do. Maybe no. Let me reel that back a little bit. No, because I've seen a lot of ad bills lately and they still suck.
Would you say that across all platforms that you're familiar with, video still translates the best?
Yes and no.
Okay.
That depends on the platform. So like even with the platforms that we've been using, like traditionally, like videos will perform well. And look, you have to have videos. There's no way around it. Let me just put it there. Like, let me just start there. You cannot get around not having videos. I think it's a huge mistake for somebody to not have video, because how do you tell your story without videos? Everybody watches videos, whether it's 15, 30 seconds, 45 seconds, or 3 minutes or 4 minutes long. You have to have video that tells the story, for a service or a product, influencer marketing. I mean, insert whatever you want to, but video is a must. That being said, I do find that certain campaigns, there are ad sets and ad campaigns that perform better with graphics versus video. Like graphics outperform the videos, but there's other nuances I can get into. I can get into the detail. I can say, well, the graphics are performing better after they watch like 2 videos. So like instead of the third piece of content that this investor sees or this potential lead sees, instead of it being a video, if we put a graphic there, it converts better. Do you see what I'm saying? Like there's these little things
of the puzzle
but I'm not going to give that away.
The other question I had kind of before we switch topics was, as you're exploring like Twitter more so,
X.
Yeah, damn it. Does the way that, like when it comes to the actual ad itself, does the way that you're writing the copy vary from from Meta, to LinkedIn to X when you're actually like creating the ad?
Yeah, all these name changes are tripping us up. Okay.
I mean, even with Snapchat, we were watching the news at the office and it said Snap, and I was like, wait, is it the same thing?
Well, Snapchat's a whole nother story that we can talk about.
Another day.
What was the question again?
So, when you're creating ads across platforms, we just discussed video. What about the actual written text, the copy? Does it need to vary drastically from Meta to LinkedIn to Twitter to perform well?
Yes, it absolutely does. The straightforward answer is yes. Every platform has its thing. So like you can't run like a TikTok, like you can't run a LinkedIn ad, meaning like being very like business like or whatever. And look, LinkedIn's changed too, so it's not just like business related stuff. But my point is like you can't run ads that you run on like LinkedIn and it translate well on like TikTok or like even Meta. You know what I mean? And then, if I get into the details, there are different character limits on certain platforms. Like X has a certain character limit. LinkedIn has a certain character limit. But then Meta doesn't really have a character limit. You can have like thousands of words in there and like they'll still run the ad campaign. Wow. But like LinkedIn's like, lead generation campaign has a 600 character limit in the main part of the copy. Headline has like a 200 character limit. It's like, oh, I just know these character limits. But
that was impressive, actually.
Yeah, I didn't think I'd remember it. but you have these like limitations, which naturally, because it's limited, it changes your approach and how you write the copy. And then certain platforms had limitations on the length of the video, right? So that means your messaging on what part of the video you want to use or how you want to create the video changes. Look, those like you know how we clip these like podcasts, you know? Yeah, this could translate well, like those short clips that we create for Valynt Digital, that could translate well for like TikTok. On the flip side, like on TikTok, Facebook story, YouTube story, and some of these other platforms. So like there are like, type of content that you can just run all across the platforms. But then if you start to run certain type of campaigns, like conversion based campaigns through like just a lead generation or a traffic ad / conversion based campaign, you can't use that type of content all the time. And then it doesn't translate well on all the platforms.
Yeah. One of
So the answer is yes and no.
Right.
It's not cookie cutter.
Exactly. What was cool about one of the episodes like we clipped, right? It was a short form content that I immediately was like, this would go really well on something short form. So like TikTok or maybe Instagram Reels or something where it doesn't really give you much information about what we were talking about, but it makes you want to know what we were talking about. So redirect them to the full episode, whether that be on YouTube, like on the website, like wherever it may be. So I thought that was really cool to see in real time.
Yeah, that's a strategy, by the way. Like, that's like trying to hook people, right? Like you give them a quick, like, it's like a trailer. It's basically like a social media trailer.
Yeah.
Like that's how I look at it. Yeah, it's like a trailer. Like, oh, do I want to know more about this topic, or do I want to know more about what Max said, or what Dan said, or whatever? Yeah. Like, yeah. And look, by the way, like I still personally like watch the podcasts, and I don't like to outsource that just yet, or like I don't when I say outsource, like have a team member or like anybody else do it, because it's important for me. Like this is how important content is for us, and it should be for all these other businesses out there. I want to make sure I have control of the clips that are going out there on social media, because I'm trying to look selfishly, like I'm trying to paint a certain type of picture for ourselves, right? And it's the image of the brand, right? So like there's a brand image that we're trying to portray, and obviously we're authentic to who we are, right? When we talk through this podcast, but I think people should really consider just making sure that 2024 your content's on point and you have the capability to drive your own narrative. So like put your best foot forward and drive your own narrative and create your own success like they're using social media.
Yeah. I was listening to, I don't remember the name of their podcast, but it's the one that Dave Portnoy does with 2 other people on his team.
On Barstool, right?
Yeah, on Barstool, or with Barstool. And he had done an interview, and he has a person that does their social media, and he like clips all of the episodes to make short form content. And he posts it up there, and then later, like when I'm catching up to it, I'm seeing Dave Portnoy like responding to like an apology sort of deal. This was a couple months ago, but he's responding to apologies saying like, I didn't realize that's how my guy clipped it, because he clipped it in a way where it was like making it seem like your imagination gets to wander. It was making it seem like what was left out or what was actually like bleeped was like key information that made it like super, super juicy. And when he unbleeped it, you realize nothing juicy actually happened, but it was just like the perception that they were
It's where they cut the video.
Yes. And the juiciness they were trying to like give by like making you think, oh, I wonder what it was actually said and all this stuff. And Dave Portnoy came out and said like, hey man, like that's not how I ever want to like portray myself. And I'm obviously paraphrasing now, but he didn't want to come off that way. He talked to his dude and was like, hey, you don't have to do that clickbaity stuff. Like you don't have to make it seem like drama happened when no drama really existed.
Yeah, so that's a good point.
I like what we've talked about and what you just said about how we're taking control over that, because it makes a huge difference.
It does. Yeah. It's look, for some people, like if you're in the entertainment, and maybe not all entertainment, but like this just pops in my mind, is that, if you're like a TMZ or somebody, you probably want that type of clip, right? Like you want to use that to drive your audience, because your audience is that. But then the same clip simultaneously can be clipped by, making it shorter, or probably making it longer in this scenario. And then you can run that as like an educational like piece of content on LinkedIn or something. Like it's so crazy how you, depending on how you edit, you can change the perception of that particular situation on social media, and the social media is full of that stuff. Like, and it goes back to what Andy Frisella was saying just recently. You know, a lot of these mother effers out here are portraying themselves a certain way when in reality their life is not that. So I do harp on the fact that Valynt Volumes is a straightforward, like it's a no nonsense. Like we tell you how it is. Like we tell you exactly what we're doing, how we're doing it. And yeah, we don't do that clickbaity shit around here. Yeah.
I mean, we might put a title that's like super awesome, and we want you to think it's clickbaity, but not clickbaity in the wrong
like
reason.
Sensational.
Yeah,
I've been using that word a lot. Sensational. Just give me the glow.
But see, like also to this point, like on an episode of Rogan, they pulled up an article and they were reading it like word for word what this person had quoted, and the expert that he was talking to had said, well, the follow-up sentence to that statement was something negative. The journalist just wrote, you know, XYZ is a great thing for, you know, the future of mankind, period. And that's all that was said. And then the expert they were talking to said, well, they missed the part where he said, and it could have an actual disastrous effect if things are done wrong. And so it's like whoever's in control of the narrative, whether it be journalism and just the actual text, somebody who's editing the actual video, like whatever it may be, like it's hard to trust that out there. And so,
and that leads into like a whole nother conversation that we'll clip it here, but we'll clip it here, but like that leads into the whole conversation of why controlling like radio stations and TV stations and being able to put whatever message you want on there. Like, you know, before it used to be the newspaper, right? That's how people got their information. Then it switched to the radio, then it went to TV. Now it's on social media. That's why like look, in business, like you can grow it because you get to control and tell your own narrative and your own story. You know, like marketing is very important at its core for sales, to grow your business, for politics. I mean, marketing is important for a lot of different things. You know what I mean? In so many different areas. In sports, I mean, it plays a role. I think I can't think of a place where marketing doesn't have a place.
I mean, I started at Valynt doing marketing for churches.
Yeah, there you go.
Like marketing for everything. So, well, I think this is a good place to put a pin in it for today. Thank you for your thoughts. I think this is the first time we've really done like a hot topic of what's happening in the world. So
you brought some good topics that I like talking about today. So I appreciate that.
To those Valyntpreneurs listening, if you'd like to hear more from us about the hot topics that are happening in digital marketing, let us know at hello@valyntdigital.com. But if you also have any questions that you'd like us to address, maybe something that's happening in your own business or anything related to digital marketing, entrepreneurship, raising capital, I mean, you name it, we're open to exploring it.
Yeah,
so.
we do have some great ideas. I'll leave the listeners with this. We do have some good ideas on bringing, you know, people based on decades, and I'm just gonna leave it there. Like decades, they're like, what are you talking about, decades? Well, then you gotta watch.
Stay tuned for more Valynt Volumes.
Peace.